So you have to be really careful about what kind of draft you want to come up with. Like, what are the strategies you want to use to take that win against your opponents? So let's start with Nongshim Red Force. They're going to ban out the Musashi along with the Lung. And this is going to be their first pick on the Dire Dia, one of my personal hated heroes because she's so damn good.
Okay, well, speaking of hated heroes, on the other end, we're just going to go with the Oghren, the menace last year. I would say that Oghren was definitely the hero of every single Honor of King esports when Oghren was out, because just the amount of potential play of pushing things out, the damage, the sustain, you had everything that you would want and the kitchen sink, right? So going into this one, it looks like Nongshim are going to look to kind of counter this play by picking up the Arlie themselves, and with the Dune, is that enough, kid?
Oh, I love it, right? Dune is a very tanky hero. He's able to zip in and out of the back lines, the front lines as well. So I think they're going to do a very good job of soaking in damage. At the same time, the fact that they have an Arlie, this is going to be massive damage coming in. As long as, you know, everyone focuses on the Dune, I think this Arlie is going to be safe and sound. And pair up with the Dire Dia, the heals are insane. So Destined Encounter, definitely going to be big works for Nongshim.
So if we're looking at this one, I mean, we talked about how global ban is like, if you win, or regardless, if you pick the hero, you can't play it again. So it seems like they're picking a lot of the meta heroes. I mean, Lady Soon definitely always very strong. Byron is very strong as well. They want to put their best foot forward. Now, unfortunately for Scars, if this game goes in the losing end, they're going to have a hard time kind of coming back from it. And this is, of course, the genius of the global ban pick system.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right. At this point, strategy is definitely going to be super important for both teams, right? Because you don't want to kind of exhaust your resources too early in the game. They're going to finalize the bans on the side of Nongshim with the Ming as well as the Zhang Fei. And I think it's a pretty good start, right? See, similar to what we've seen last year, I think there's a lot of bans focused on the roams, because if you have a good roam, it does change the way that you get to play the game, because there's a lot more control, there's a lot more shielding, more survivability. But oh my goodness, we're gonna see our first ever Niwa here, and let me say, the rework on Niwa, I absolutely love it because I play mid as well, but this could be a big problem for Scars.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. And to be honest, Nuwa, I feel like when it's in my ranked games, I just have a bad game, especially when it's in the enemy team. Generally speaking, just the amount of control, the damage, everything that you want, and just kind of shooting from afar is very strong. But is it enough to kind of deal with this? Now, if you're going to be from Scars, you're talking about the roamer being super important. It looks like they're going to prioritize that for Ochik in the last pick here. Your thoughts? Who kind of... Okay, the Lianpo, boom. Your thoughts?
I think it's okay, right? But I'm very worried about the fact that Nongshim actually has the Dharma, and there's quite a lot of control coming in from Nongshim Red Force. So that's kind of my worry for the set of Scars. But Scars, let's be honest, if they get an advantage in the early game, maybe get a steal in the jungle, take one of the buffs away, this is going to amplify the growth of the Oghren quite a lot. And we both know, right? When you give an Oghren farm, he is super sustainable, he is super painful as well. Depending on how he wants to build, maybe gets that Crimson Reaper as a side item to deal extra damage as well. In the meantime, everyone else is just going crazy.
Yeah, everyone else will be going crazy. Hopefully, I mean, they need to keep themselves alive and be able to out-farm the Oghren, right? Which is like the big win condition for them. But this Niwa, I love the pick, especially for a Game 1 pick, because it really sets the tone. It kind of sets yourself up of, hey, we have ways to kind of control you and to deal with the potential Oghren with this path of passing and just kind of moving things about. But of course, this is the first match of the day. Game 1, Nongshim Red Force going up against Scars. Let's look at just the drafts, kid. Your thoughts, who has the edge?
I actually prefer Nongshim Red Force. I think they have a little bit better sustain. Sustenance on the side of Scars, I think it's okay, but mostly for Arashi as well as Kai, right? Because the two of them, they have Force Field Suppression, they have the Death's Precipice, they have the Seer State to kind of heal up and stuff like that. But aside from that, I think the continuity of heals coming in from Faye definitely going to matter much more for the side of Nongshim.
Okay. All right. Do you have a favorite of just, you know, not looking at the draft, but looking more at the players and the teams? Did you have a favorite going into this one?
I think, you know what, Illusion really impressed me last year, as well as Kyong. The two of them have played spectacularly in their respective roles, and I expect the same quality out of them. I don't think there has been a change in fact, maybe there is. They have definitely gotten better based on what we have seen in the previous series that they played to get to this position in the first place.
Yeah, and to be honest, I kind of feel like this is a team that's really starting to gel. I kind of liked what we saw from Nongshim. I feel like, again, Kyung was on point. But I also want to give shout out to Faye. You know, as a fellow Rome myself, he's just been unbelievable in terms of control, ensuring that his carry SIRI is always alive. They have a nice duo in that bottom lane, and someone you need to be careful about, as Faye looks like he's going to get gone on here. It looks like he's going to limp away, though.
Yep, I think that's a good start, right? But this kind of shows you the potential. I mean, let's talk about their counterparts as well. I think Ochik has been really impressive for me on the side of Scars. Familiar face as well from last year. And I think he definitely has gotten better as well. The improvements on his decision making, on when to go in. And, you know, using a hero like Lianpo, it does require quite distinctive decision making, because you need to make sure that you catch the appropriate people at the correct time as well. That Tremor Smash, 3 hits, you need to make sure it lands on all the members on the other side.
Okay, well, that's easier said than done, my friend. I mean, definitely a difficult situation. But again, he hits those. He hits like 3 or 4 members. You're going to win that team fight. And I think that you're going to do it on the back of Ochik setting it up, but you're going to knock it down with Arashi. I think that this is a player that you need to fear as a Nongshim Red Force, player, right? He's always going to be on point. If he's able to get farm and able to control the game, you're going to have a tough time.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he's one of the 3 different members on the side of Scars that can get an initiation here. And I think base for now, I don't think there's enough damage from the side of Scars to really take out that first blood. But Faye, he's kind of playing with fire here.
Yeah, he's definitely playing with fire. And mind you, it's kind of funny because in the qualifiers, when we're watching some of the other games, he was known as Faye U, and I always wanted to make the joke that every time he gets a kill, it's like an FU.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it looks like he knows what's up, right? So
yeah,
definitely
it's a family game. It's a family joke. He changed it back. He's just going to be Faye at this point. But again, you know, I like the fact that he's teamed up with SIRI. I think that this is a duo that is very scary. The potential for them to grow has just, you know, they've improved game in and game out. So this is something that we're going to have to see as they move forward. I think Scars realize this, and they're going to have a tough time of trying to limit SIRI from getting as much farm as possible. Oh
yeah, for sure. I think one of the things that really impresses me about the potential of this series is the fact that they have gone, I think, close to 10 games against each other in the entirety of time they've played HOK, right? And so they're really familiar with each other. So I'm curious to see whether they can handle SIRI, because SIRI has been on the winning end multiple times across any series they've played against each other.
Yeah. I mean, yes, for sure. And SIRI is that carry that you want, but it looks like the Tyrant getting a little on the low side. It doesn't look like they want to contest. Arashi will pick that one up. The first Tyrant of the game, always very important, at least in my eyes. But wow, that Bitter Farewell going the distance. They're trying to do the damage, not able to do it. He flashes over the wall. He does survive, trying to get sniped out, and he does. Illusion picks him off with that incantation, Resplendence.
I mean, that's why I said Illusions is really impressive. That Annihilation, extremely accurate. I mean, okay, it doesn't seem that hard to hit, but when you're playing, it's a different beast to handle for sure.
Okay, well, if you're on my team, you can't hit a single one. You're on my enemy team, you are hitting everyone. And it's painful, and it's uncomfortable, but Illusion really able to snipe it out. I really like what Niwa can kind of bring to this table. And it's something that it's being able to control and creating these like blocks that make it very difficult for the rest of the team to kind of catch up. Controlling and positioning on the battlefield, super important, and I like what the hero brings to the table.
Oh yeah, for sure, right? The Coalescence is actually one of the most irritating skills that I find, but I love to use Nuwa. Maybe not as good as the pros, for sure, but the pushback from that Coalescence is definitely going to be something that really hits hard against the enemy heroes. And for someone that is using Organ as Arashi, right? Arashi needs to be really close to you. So Illusion's going to do well for himself if he's able to kind of push out the aggression for Scars for any initiation that they try.
Yeah, and if we're looking at levels, I mean, Arashi just hit level 10, slightly behind HaKu, but oh my gosh, Faye got caught out. There was a lot of Scars members, just 4 members there, ensuring they get the kill. And Arashi, again, you do not want to give this guy any sort of farm, and that was unfortunate for Nongshim there.
Yeah, actually that's one of the difficulties of playing Dardia, right? You have to kind of manage your aggression because her skill set really gets you deep within enemy lines. And I think Faye just took a step too far. He was already playing with fire earlier in the game, and it looks like finally gets punished for it. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you sometimes you make, it's not like game ending to die out this one. Faye, obviously on the Diadea, has a lot of mobility. Unfortunately for him, just too much damage, too much control, and unfortunately not able to get away. But again, Scar's great win for them. They need to continue that farm. I think that, again, you're trying to funnel as much farm into MFeng and, of course, Arashi as much as possible. But now Nongshim making it uncomfortable, pushing it in. They've opened it up with the bottom T1 already taken down. Now they're starting to siege on that bottom T2, making it very uncomfortable for Scars to really get that farm going.
Yeah, my big concern now for Scars is can they handle HaKu? Because of all the exchanges we've seen so far, I mean, it's just 2 kills across the game, right? We haven't had an honest face-to-face fight between HaKu as well as Arashi. That's going to be the telltale sign of how this series is going to go.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. But look at that also skin. So nice. That event going on right now. The Frozen event. I love it, by the way.
Yeah. The Elsa skin and of course for Shi as well with the Ana skin. I just got it last night. Yeah, but nonetheless, you know, besides the skins, so far, I think ASD has been pretty steady, right? I don't think ASD made the same mistakes he did in the previous series that they played against each other. And I think that's a good start for the side of Scars.
Oh, very good start. I mean, look, the net worth is pretty much a slight edge in favor of Scars. They're doing the right things. I think that is just a slight level advantage has been flexing in favor of Nongshim. In terms of towers, we're kind of equal throughout. And we knew it was going to be a very evenly matched series, and you're seeing exactly the fruits of that labor, so to speak, in the sense of just, you know, both of these teams really want this. Of course, it's a best of 5. You have so many wins to go through, and of course, getting that first win would be huge in terms of momentum.
Okay, so one big thing is Arashi just got his Blood Rage, right? This could be a big change in the fight as well. But Arashi, so far, I think they haven't found that initiation opportunity for their side to get into the backlines of Nongshim. And until they fix that issue, I think it's going to be a stalemate all the way.
Yeah. But finding that right avenue where they can get to the backline, not the easiest thing for them to do. They need to open things up. If we're looking at some of the Scars, like the mobility is kind of, I would say, aside from the Ogryn, of course, with the path of passing where you can go wherever. But generally speaking, it's going to be kind of like you see it coming. It's very predictable in that sense. But now Kyung dashes away. He's going to be fine, and that T1 is doing a little bit of chip damage on them. But Scars, I like the aggression. You need to invade. You need to make it uncomfortable for Nongshim.
Oh yeah, for sure. They've already taken the first objective of the game, right? Now the second Tyrant might be going into their hands, and this will be the final Tyrant before the Shadow versions of both objectives will come out. And I think Nongshim, they've made the really smart choice not to go and contest for this neutral objectives, but to go for the towers instead. And you know what? Map control wins you games. And Nongshim, very methodical gameplay, slightly different from what we have seen in the previous time they've played against each other, because I think Scars have done well to manage the draft in such a way that they haven't exactly lost. But right now, I think it takes a lot for them to commit into fights because, like we mentioned before, initiation, definitely an issue because for Scars, it's pretty predictable.
Yeah, definitely pretty predictable in that one sense. But Scars, okay, they've gotten 2 Tyrants. Nongshim, yeah, you've gotten, you know, in terms of towers, it's pretty much equal. They're staying in there just by being able to outfarm them in the lanes. But neutral-wise, they've kind of not been on point. This is a very different game than from what we saw in terms of the last series here. And now Scars finding HaKu, at least up in the front line. They're going to try to kind of, you know, poke and prod at one another, but as the Shadow Tyrant is going to be the big one for them, HaKu does have his smite, something to take note of. Arashi on the other end. There looks like they're going to go for about half-life on this Tyrant. Who's going to go for this one? Who takes this one out? And it looks like ASD gets the Tyrant. They're going to continue on. They have the damage. They kill HaKu, and of course they kill Faye. That's a huge win for Scars. They're continuing on, and they found Kyung as well. They get the guillotine. That's 4 members down.
Oh, that's a big fight to win, man. I mean, Scars, I was very worried because Kyung was hiding on the sidelines and I was waiting for him to jump in with the Truth Mantra as well. That opportunity never showed up and he flashed into the middle of all 5 members on the side of Scars. This is a different Scars from the last we've seen them. And I would like to say, Ochik impressed me very much.
has destroyed
Yeah,
a
definitely.
tower.
I mean, he's very tanky. And if you're looking at the rest of Scars, and this is kind of how, aside from the fact that MFeng, Lady Soon, ASD, Lady Chun, both kind of on the squishier ends, the other ones are kind of, you know, hey, if you get on me, we're able to kind of sustain. We have ways to kind of be very tanky and make it uncomfortable. And seeing as that, you know, MFeng and ASD were always on the backside, very difficult to get to those backliners. I mean, they pretty much were just unleashing hell and doing so much damage. And Nongshim got caught out, and there's a huge reason why Scars, with that really good team fight, are able to take the lead here, as they've got about a 5k net worth lead.
Okay, so we know about the traditional drafting style of Scars, right? These are very meta heroes we've seen since last year as well. And here's the issue. When HaKu jumps in, the entire backline is exposed. So Illusion, yes, he can deal a lot of damage, but he's not very survivable in the first place. So when Kai, when Ochik, they go for individual targets, nonetheless, because of their skill sets, it is an AoE output. So they are able to catch multiple people at the same time, even though they're going for individual heroes on the side of Nongshim, right? And so far, this formula is working for them. So Nongshim, I think they need to figure out, how do we get the perfect positioning? Because Scars can fight however they want to. It doesn't matter. Their skill set allows that.
Oh, they found HaKu. They're going to try to focus in. The Unruly Blade gets them out to safety. And it looks like they're going to back off here. They need to be careful with how they go in. Heartlink on to SIRI, and they want to go over with the Path of Passing. The Conductor of Souls, they found Faye. They're going to try to focus him down. Oh, he Heartlinks back one more time, but he gets blown up by the Rolling Blade. Ultimate Shell combination. They do get that one pick off. And again, more space going the way of Scars as they pick up even another red buff.
Yep, Scar just playing on a different playing field at this point, right? If you notice how that fight goes, Nongshim Red Force, they're trying to get the initiations, but it's always a 1v2, 1v3. They don't have a full 5-on-5 fight. And Scars, they're taking full advantage of that.
Yeah, I kind of don't like that fight that Nongshim was looking to go. Obviously, they were kind of on the retreat, but they were like, hey, do we go in? Do we not? Or whatever. And Faye kind of got caught out because they're trying to save him. At some point, you just need to cut your losses. You need to get yourself out of there. Fight for another day. You're already behind in terms of levels. This is a 6k net worth lead, and it's starting to grow even more with Scars as they take up the bottom T3. But now with these Tyrants pushing, Scars are in the driver's seat. This is their game to lose.
Yeah, and let me just be clear, this is a very beautiful moveset that Scars has achieved. So number one, yes, they got the tier 3 down, but most importantly is which tier 3 they got. They got the one that was opposite the side of the Overlord, which means that this lane is going to be pressurizing for the side of Nongshim. It's one lane they cannot ignore, and this pulls a lot of attention away and relieves the threat of a potential steal coming in from the Overlord. You can have Nongshim, you know, Illusion try for that Annihilation steal, but what are the chances of success for that?
Dark Tyrant has been
Yeah, it would be tough here. I mean, Arashi here smites it, ensures he gets the Shadow Tyrant here. They're going to go Unruly Blade, Nongshim. They're going to do full-on retreat at this point. But again, Scars taking all the big objectives. They're continuing to farm. They're invading the enemy jungle, taking everything from you. Nongshim right now are huddled in a corner, really no space, not able to get any sort of farm. Kyung doing his best to kind of push things out, maybe split push to create a little bit of space, but it's tough here, as it looks like they're going to look to start sieging here, but no minions in the mid lane as of yet. They're slow sieging in that bottom.
Oh yeah, and this is a difficult one, but maybe Kyung can make a difference. He does have the Pure Sky, does have some damage reduction, but at this point, right, MFeng, he's doing so much damage, the rolling rates are just free. He is able to maneuver however he wants to.
Oh, the burst ramp chamber smash connecting onto 2. They've gotten the mid T3, and it looks like they've gotten another one, but it looks like we do have a bit of a code reveal. HaKu goes down for 40 seconds. They're going to continue on. All 5 members of Scars still alive. They found Kyung. The base is open. This is a awkward situation, but Scars a little on the low side. It looks like they're going to want to regroup, realizing that, hey, we don't need to push the initiative. We've already got 2 more members. Now we need to wait for our minion wave.
Yep, and it's a difficult position, right? Right now, Kai also just got the Eye of the Phoenix. MFeng already getting the Stage Sanctuary. There's no chance. I think
they're going to go in for this one. They can do Force Field Suppression on the backside. They've already blown up SIRI. They have the base, and they want to get all the kills. This is a statement game for Scars as they take game 1.
Yep, a big start, right? And this is definitely a huge win, because can you imagine losing to Nongshim Red Force for months in a row, and finally, when it does matter, here we go. Scars take the first game of a best of 5 series. Doesn't really set the win in cement, but it's a good start.
It's a very good start, and that's exactly what you want to do. In a best of 5, of course, the first game, don't get me wrong, probably one of the most important because you're setting the tone, right? You're being like, hey, we did lose to you before, but we are back. We did our research. We are able to execute on a high level, and Nongshim really didn't have any answers. I think that their draft was good in terms of Scars and being able to control the game. They were able to take all the big neutrals and just kind of force, them to play Scars' game, which is a losing game for Nongshim.
Yeah, but let's be clear. The game was teetering at the edge because both teams, it was kind of like a seesaw, right? The goal difference was minuscule. It was ignorable for probably about 10 minutes into the game. And all of a sudden, Scars hit that full throttle. They just went in. And I think Ochik, he made the very important decision to time his Tremor Smashers at that particular moment where I think he manages to catch out 4 different members on the side of Nongshim. And when you give so much space to MFeng on that Lady Sun, he is just going to have the time of his life.
Yeah, he's going to do so much damage. And again, we were talking about how Ochik needs to ensure that he gets those amazing Tremor Smashes, and he lived up to the call. That was an amazing game by him, setting it up. I don't know if he's going to win MVP. We're going to find out who kind of everyone thought was that good, but I thought Scars playing very well together. This is what you want for the team. But look at these stats here. 5-0-5 by Arashi, just controlling it out. But Ochik, 0-0-10. It seemed a little quiet, but we see you, friend. You made the plays, my friend.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he definitely contributed a lot to what came to be the victory for the side of Scars. And I think the draft wasn't that big of a difference, but itemization wise, look, the gold growth from ASD wasn't that impressive. 7,008, he's okay. He's trailing, in fact, against Illusion, who had much better time, 9,000 gold in the pocket. But the itemization just dealt so much damage because ASD, that anti-heal potential coming in from Lady Zhen. And Lady Zhen, with her skill sets as well, the flowing side, bouncing around, it just gets the anti-heal onto so many different members on the side of Nongshim. And Nongshim wanted to play on the heals and shields, didn't really work out that hard.
Yeah, just really well played there. I mean, look, we understand like the game rating of 8.4 on ASD, but again, the knocking out the healing potential of that team, where again they just want to sustain and all that, very hidden in that sense, and just really playing well together, understanding that hey, it's more than just solo play of doing all that damage and getting all those kills, but it's also helping the team ensure that they get that secured win. But now they're going to go in. I felt like that draft was very meta heavy. They kind of went all in. Now, does Scars have the gas to kind of ensure that they're able to kind of ensure that they get 2 other wins to their name?
I think that's a great question because at this point with global ban, now you don't get to repick the same draft ever again, right? Now you have to kind of go with, maybe I want to have the same strategy but a different kind of skill set to go along with it. So yes, you know what? The idea is still open for them. It's something they can definitely explore. The heals and the shields, late game, I think it matters much more for the side of Scars. And Nongshim kind of fell prey to the fact that they were relying too much on Faye as a sole idea to really help heal and shield the team as well. So Scars, for the first time in months, I think they won the draft.
Yeah.
They edged it out just a little bit.
No, I mean, draft is one thing, but let's talk a little bit about this one post-game here, right? The fact that all the big neutrals, they were able to secure, right? That is so much gold, momentum, all of the things that you want. And Scars was able to do that. It was very close early to mid-game. If we're looking at this gold graph, everything was, neck and neck. And then all of a sudden, that late game started to hit, and Scars was really starting to, that late game potential with all those items. It was really able to kind of power them through and to just ensure that they got this victory. That's exactly what you want to do against a team like Nongshim. So again, Scars playing it very, very smart. The coaching was great, and the preparation for this one was actually on point. That is exactly how you want to start a series for game 1. Scars, really well played.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they managed the waves really well, right? Because one of the things that I think Nongshim struggled with was the timing of these objectives. That first Tyrant that Scars got, I don't think there were a lot of members on the side of Nongshim that managed to reach that pit in time in the first place. And another thing that consistently happened throughout the game was, I think HaKu was trying to look for the invasion, right? Get a couple of steals on the buffs. but more often than not, there were no buffs to steal, there were no creep camps to take away, and they just walked into the middle of Scars, and it was always something that kind of wasted the time. There was no efficiency on the side of Nongshim Red Force, not by their own faults. It was just Scars all the way. They planned it pretty well.
Yeah, planned pretty well, but they need to bounce back. I think that once they were like, hey, we're actually losing some of these big neutrals, we're kind of, you know, we got pushed back. I think that it seemed like they were caught flat-footed at multiple times. I think Nongshim need to come in, be like, hey, this team is ready to go. Let's check out the highlights of that game one to kind of see exactly where Scars did really, really well and just ensure that they secured this victory. Kin, help me walk me through some of these highlights here.
All right, so first objective, of course, I mean, it was a great start, right, for the side of Nongshim in terms of kills. They got the first blood. I was actually expecting that, you know what, Illusion was going to pop up, but based on the way that the map was controlled from the side of Scars, there never was an actual opportunity. And based on how the way fights were taken, it was really difficult for Nongshim to get that perfect initiation. Kyung here, I think, waited a little bit too long because he was waiting for that perfect moment to use his truth mantra. But here he goes, diving into the middle of 5 and gets taken out instantaneously. And that's kind of when we kind of figured like, hey, maybe this game is not going to go as well for Nongshim.
Yeah. Actually, that was pretty much the tipping point. From that moment on, Nongshim were on the back foot. They were very reactive to what was happening. Even this fight, right? Like, oh, Fei, why are you going in? He tried to go in for this one. It got a little cheeky, and the rest of Nongshim were like, hey, oh, are we going in? What's going on? Now we're trying to save him, and Fei got completely caught out. That was a little unfortunate for him. Fei, he should not have been going in with a bitter farewell. He needs to ensure that he stays alive. You don't want to be making cheeky plays, especially when you're behind.
Yep, I think there was plenty of tunnel vision, right? Situational awareness may be slightly different on the sides of Nongshim Red Force. They were kind of a mixed bag of, hey, I want to go in, where's the rest of my team? And then the rest of Nongshim was like, no, you know what, that's not the best case, best timing to go in as well. And so maybe it's just a huge, big miscommunication